Good evening and welcome to Black Talk Radio News. This is the Black Talk Radio News Report. Remember, you can catch my regular broadcast on Tuesday nights at the blacktalkradionetwork.com radio network platform. That again is blacktalkradionetwork.com on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I wanted to do a follow-up report. I also help co-host and produce the Wednesday night program on Black Talk Radio Network, New Abolitionist Radio. Now, for whatever reason, the co-host Max Parthis, I can't remember his exact reason, but he did a segment where he was talking about the Constitution. Oh yeah, I remember now. He was talking about Roy Moore, and Roy Moore saying we could eliminate all the amendments of the US Constitution and just stick with 1 through 10. About that, but during the conversation he was reading different amendments and he read the 15th Amendment, and all of a sudden a light bulb just went off in my head, and I was like, this could apply to felony disenfranchisement, as we know a lot of people who get caught up in prison slavery, if they're convicted of felonies, that in many of the different states they can lose their voting rights for life. And it appears that that could be unconstitutional. I'm at a loss to explain why. I have never heard of any attorney, any law firm trying to get voter rights restored to convicted felons using the 15th Amendment. But first, let's read the 13th Amendment, because the 13th Amendment is key. And y'all know that is our whole basis of New Abolitionist Radio, as we tell people, according to the 13th Amendment, slavery was never abolished, and that we've been lied to for over 150 years. And I'm not going to make this report going into depth about that. We, again, every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, New Abolitionist Radio, where we provide you with evidence that slavery was never abolished. But let me read the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution says that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the parties shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So, in case you didn't catch that, there is an exception clause that says, hey, slavery and involuntary servitude is quite all right, as long as you first convict someone, duly convict someone of a crime. Now, these crimes can be victimless crimes, they can be nonviolent crimes. Immediately following the Civil War, during the era of so-called Reconstruction, a lot of the states passed black codes that they use to target black people, to put them back into slavery via the prisons and the convict leasing program, and that's going on to this very day. Okay, so slavery was never abolished. It says again, in case y'all missed it, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. That's something that we've been telling people for the past, 5.5 years on our radio program, New Abolitionist Radio. Now, another key thing you should pay attention to is the language. It says slavery nor involuntary servitude, saying that they shouldn't exist unless you convict someone of a crime first. So let's then go to the 15th Amendment. What does the 15th Amendment have to say? Well, the 15th Amendment is one of those natural rights amendments, but it was codified in the Constitution because we know in order to keep slavery going during the colonial period, they implemented what was known as the slave codes, aka white supremacy, because those slave codes not only applied to victims of slavery, but it also applied to free black colonists. And the Virginia slave codes are, to my knowledge, the first set of laws that codified white supremacy and stripped black people of their equal rights under the law. And that's still pretty much the order of the day, but again, this is all to maintain slavery. Now, here comes the 15th Amendment, of course, after the Civil War, after the passage of the 13th Amendment. Now, this is what it says. It says, the 15th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America says the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States, that's the federal government, or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Now, you might notice it's unlike later civil rights bills where it doesn't talk about national origin or sex. They say that this is the amendment that black men demanded after saving the Union in the Civil War. For though you can deny it all you want to, but the Union was losing until the racist Lincoln allowed black troops, black men, whether they were free black men or victims of slavery, to serve in the Union Army to put down the South. Okay, so after that, black veterans were putting demands on the federal government saying, we demand the right to vote. All right, so this is what gave black men, not women, but black men, the right to vote, the 15th Amendment. Okay, and later we had to have the Voter Rights Act so that, you know, it pretty much covered everybody. But anyway, it goes, let me read it one more time. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Now, if we go back to the 13th Amendment, it says, it's pretty much telling you when you in prison, you are under a form of involuntary servitude and slavery. Okay? Involuntary servitude. Now, so for those who are convicted felons, that means that you came out of servitude. Now, again, what does the 15th Amendment say about servitude? It says that your vote cannot be denied, your right to vote cannot be denied or abridged by the United States, that's federal government, or any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. We find that again in the 13th Amendment, involuntary servitude. So it just boggles my mind, and it could be this has been tried in the courts before by some, you know, lawyer who's thinking outside the box or who is properly interpreting the Constitution. But I could be wrong. I have seen no case law, heard of no case law, have never heard of anyone talking about the 15th Amendment outlaws or prohibits felony disenfranchisement when it comes to people's rights to vote. And so we know that one of the reasons that they target black people, besides, you know, the profit that they make off of slavery, but was to also take away their rights once they get that felony slave status. Okay, this is slavery post 1865, post Civil War slavery, because again, slavery was never abolished. So I'm putting this out there. Any attorneys out there that's watching this, what are your thoughts on this? To the people who are able to read English and comprehend it pretty well, what are your thoughts on this? Are you feeling like I'm feeling, in that the 15th Amendment of the United States Constitution prohibits felony voter disenfranchisement? Leave your thoughts in the comments section, and perhaps we will revisit this issue at a later date on New Abolitionist Radio. See if we can get some attorneys on to discuss this. All right, this is Scotty Reed with a Black Talk Radio News Report. Remember, it's very important for you to support the production of independent media, primarily independent black media. And you can do that today by making a donation to the US-based nonprofit Black Talk Media Project. Visit us online at blacktalkmediaproject.org, or you can find donation links at blacktalkradionetwork.com. With that said, peace and blessings to all. Y'all be safe out there.